No, I need the raffle ticket.
All right. Okay, my dear children. Good vach, Shavua Tov. Welcome to Avi Sibanim. Tafshin Pei Vav. Let's get a round of applause. Thank you, Beis Menachem. Thank you, Rabbi Marazov. Thanks to all of you. We're about to hear a story. The first story of the season. All right. Now, this story I have a personal connection to due to an event, an unplanned event that happened to me like 3 weeks ago. Okay? But for you to hear how the story connects to me, you're going to first have to listen to the story. Are you ready? Okay. And I know for a fact this story is true because this story was written and recorded by Reb Shlomo Yosef Zevin Olav Hashalom, who is a tremendous Torah genius, part of Encyclopedia Talmudis, was an author, was a friend of my grandfather, and this story is written in the name of Reb Asher, who is related to the Schneerson family, etc. It's a true story, and the story goes like this. There was a Jew that we may have heard of, many of us, and his name was Rabbi Meir of Premishlan. Who didn't hear of Rabbi Meir of Premishlan? Lovingly called Rabbi Meir. You know who used to call Rabbi Meir of Premishlan Rabbi Meir, just like you say Mendele or Avremi? You know who used to call Rabbi Meir of Premishlan Meir? He himself would call himself Meir. And he was such a big tzaddik, you have no idea how much knowledge he had, how he saw through your forehead and knew everything that you're thinking, and how many miracles came out of his little shtetl over there. The whole world was talking about him. Just a few hundred years ago. This Reb Meir Premishlan helped the whole world. Nissim were flying right and left, and he was always happy, he was always smiley, he was the cutest guy ever. But that's what a real tzaddik is, that's what a real righteous person is. They're not walking around the whole day verkvetched and depressed. If you're really serving Hashem, for real, you're the happiest person on earth. All the people who are not so heilig, with their money and with their glory, they're coming to you for joy. That was what a Meir was. But there was one problem. He had a daughter, and she became very, very sick. And it was around the time of Cheshvan, mamish around the time that we're in now. It was a little before. To be exact, it was the end of the Yom Tov season. And his daughter was getting sicker and sicker. And people knew that he knows that his daughter is getting sick. But he wasn't talking about it, and he didn't look concerned too much. And they knew he's the nicest person. He cares about his daughter. So it must be that he knows you don't ask questions on a tzaddik with so much knowledge and so much love. But it got to a point where he was in the middle of dancing hakafis, Simchas Torah, and his daughter was about to pass away. At this point, they said, okay, we had respect for this tzaddik, we didn't mix into his personal life, we know he knows, but someone's got to tell him something, it's going to be too late. And they ran over to the Meir, Premishlan, in the middle of his dancing of hakafis joyfully, and they said, Rebbe, your daughter is dying. It's a matter of minutes. And he woke up from his trance of his dancing, and he walked into her bedroom. And in his bedroom, he sees that his daughter is about to pass away. Rahman al-Islam, heaven forbid. So he turns to Hashem, and he says, Hashem, master of the world, you told Meir, this is how he addressed himself, how he referred to himself. You told Meir to hear Shofar on Rosh Hashanah, and Meir listened to Shofar on Rosh Hashanah. You commanded Meir to fast on Yom Kippur, and Meir fasted the whole Yom Kippur. You told Meir to sit in the sukkah, he sat in the sukkah the whole sukkahs. And every mitzvah was done with joy because I'm happy to do your will. Then you told Meir to dance hakafis. Imagine how much I fulfilled that mitzvah just now, minutes ago. And obviously I did hakafis with what? With joy. Now, it says in the Torah that you're supposed to accept likbuli b'simcha, all the challenges that Hashem sends your way that make you sad on the onset, right when you see them. You're supposed to accept them b'simcha. So now he says to Hashem, there's a law in Shulchan Aruch, ein ma'arvin simcha b'simcha. You can't make, for example, a bar mitzvah and a wedding in the same hall together. You don't mix celebrations. So he said he's very happy to accept this death sentence because Hashem wants to give it, so he's accepting it with trust that it's for his good, and he's doing it with joy. But he's in the middle of being joyous about the Torah. You're not allowed to mix two joys. And when he finished saying this, seconds didn't go through when she started sweating his daughter, and before you knew it, she was jumping around. She was completely healed. Hashem listened to every word. But I know what you're waiting for. How is this story so relevant to me? I'm going to tell you how. A few weeks ago, a very close friend of mine says, Zalman, are you in Flatbush now? I said, yeah. Can I trust you that you're not going to give out my name in reference to this, and you're not going to say a word to anybody where it came from exactly? I said, no problem. I know you for 35 years, 40 years. So I'm going to see you in your home in a few minutes. He comes to my house, and he takes out, it looked like he was taking out a treasure. And he says, no one knows, but there's a certain family. I'm not going to tell you where they live, which area, or which street. And they don't want anybody to know, but they possess Rabbi Meir's yarmulke. Not his socks, not his pants. His actual yarmulke that was on that holy head. And in my dining room, he opens up a cloth and he takes out Rabbi Meir Premishlan's yarmulke. For all I know, this story happened when he was wearing it. I held it, I kissed it, and I thanked Hashem for the opportunity. I wish I could bring it here, but one permission I got from him, that I could show you a picture of it. So who wants to see the picture that I printed tonight, especially for Avis Abanim, over here in Beis Menachem Mendel, Chabad of Midwood. Who wants to see the picture? All right. It's old, but it gives you an idea of what it looked like when it was new. I held this a few weeks ago, and it's totally legitimate. Here. It's woven with gold thread. That's a yarmulke. It's a yarmulke that was full of the Shechina on it. So you want to pass this around so people get a close look? Yeah. So Hashem should bless us with all this gulas and all the brachas that we were promised for saying stories of tzaddikim on Motzei Shabbos with a good tevach, a geula dikevach, a Mashiach dikevach, a gesund tevach, a reicha, a shidduch dikevach, and may we all get out of gulas b'karav mamish. Seid gesund, Shavua tov.